Cracking the code of AI.
Okay, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we absolutely have to address the massive elephant in the room: why your go-to AI prompts are suddenly breaking. Because look, if you've been relying on the frameworks you learned a couple of years ago, you're definitely not alone, but you've probably noticed that something feels fundamentally broken with your outputs lately. Seriously, if you've been using AI heavily over the last few years, you've no doubt seen that those viral hacks from 2023 are actually giving you worse results now. The landscape has drastically shifted right underneath us. We literally went from treating AI like some mysterious oracle that needed to be constantly coaxed to an advanced system that just wants clear, direct instructions. And this paradigm shift is pretty drastic. Back in 2023, you might have written this massive paragraph telling the AI it's a world-class expert, promising it a $200 tip and begging it to think step by step. We treated it like magic, offering a virtual tip to a literal server farm. But in 2026, we're all about constraint-based instruction. The winning prompt today is just a single, almost boring sentence. Make this shorter and warmer, and keep it under 5 lines. To understand why this happened, we really just have to look at the new architecture. Models like GPT-5, Opus 4.8, and Gemini, they do the silent reasoning entirely on their own before they even reply to you. As OpenAI officially states, telling them to think step by step is completely unnecessary now. It is quite literally like reminding a calculator to do the math. The models have fully internalized that chain of thought process for standard tasks. So all those viral tricks, yeah, they're officially dead. Offering the AI a fake tip doesn't do a thing. Being exceptionally polite and saying please and thank you, that just burns tens of millions in electricity costs for the providers without giving you a better answer. And assigning it an expert persona, that just changes the flavor of the text. It absolutely does not unlock any hidden brain power. The real reason your old prompts fail is a shift towards something called literal instruction following. The newest models do exactly what you type. Nothing more, nothing less. They no longer silently try to guess what you actually meant in the background. So if you give it a vague or contradictory prompt, you're actively confusing it. You're wasting its processing power as it tries to untangle your mixed signals. Basically, a lazy question today guarantees a rigidly literal answer. And because these models got so intuitive, the standalone job title of prompt engineer took a massive hit, plummeting by 79% from its peak. Remember hearing about those wild $375,000 salaries just to type questions into a chat box? Well, that window's closed. When the performance gap between an expert prompter and just a regular user shrinks to single digits, paying for a standalone prompt engineer just doesn't make financial sense anymore. But here is the massive whiplash: the number of roles across industries that actually require prompt engineering skills tripled in that exact same period. So the skill didn't die at all, right? It just became a required baseline for entirely new types of engineering and management roles. It's table stakes now. Welcome to the commodification spiral. It's fascinating to watch. The complex prompting techniques that specialists spent months mastering back in 2022 and 2023 didn't disappear. They were systematically absorbed into free drop-down menus, system prompts, and UI wrappers by the major AI companies. The knowledge isn't worthless, it's just been completely democratized. Now it's free for everyone. Which brings us to our next section, the context engineering shift. You see, the industry didn't kill the skill of prompting. It expanded it into something way more powerful, called context engineering. While prompt engineering was all about how you ask the question, context engineering is about engineering the total system of information you provide to the AI. It's about controlling and managing the exact data the model has access to when it's making a decision. To put that into perspective, your text prompt is now just one tiny slice of the pie. We're talking maybe 15% of the total context. The real magic happens when you orchestrate system instructions, dynamic document retrieval, which we know as RAG, tool outputs, and memory states. The actual prompt you type, that's really just the tip of the iceberg now. And this is incredibly crucial when we start talking about agentic systems. The dominant model today isn't just a human chatting back and forth with a bot. Instead, a human defines the objective, and then an agent orchestrates all the subtasks autonomously to get it done. You give it a goal, constraints, and tools, so your prompt is effectively a system-level configuration now. All right, moving on to section 3, what actually works today. If the old hacks are out, Here is the concrete strategy driving production-level AI right now. Honestly, it looks a whole lot like standard software development. First, use explicit constraint-first instructions. Tell the AI exactly what it must never do. Second, force structured outputs, replacing messy text with strict data schemas like JSON. Third, only save that chain of thought stuff for the absolute hardest logic puzzles. And finally, implement eval frameworks. You literally have to version and test your prompts just like code. And because we're building these interconnected systems, defensive prompting is an absolutely critical skill. Prompt injection is a massive vulnerability, guys. To protect your systems, you need overlapping layers of security. You want clear structural formatting to separate instructions from user input, output schema validation, rate limiting, and even secondary AI models acting as filters just to block malicious injections. It's a whole new ballgame. Let's look at what this means for you in Section 4, the 2026 AI Career Map. With the standalone prompt engineer title fading into the background, the data is pointing to 4 incredibly lucrative new paths. You can lean heavily into code and system architecture as a technical systems engineer, or if you come from a product or UX background, you can become an AI solutions designer, mapping out complex conversation flows. You could build autonomous setups as a global freelance consultant. Or, and this is a big one, you can become a domain-specialized engineer. That last path is absolutely the key to the future. The highest compensation today goes to the people who pair these context engineering skills with deep, irreplaceable industry knowledge. I'm talking clinical healthcare, complex financial regulations, contract law. A generic prompt engineer who kinda understands finance? Replaceable. But a senior financial analyst who knows how to build AI workflows? They are totally invaluable. So the roadmap is laid out right in front of us. The cheap tricks died out, but the underlying skill evolved into a seriously robust engineering discipline. The only question left is, which of those 4 paths are you building toward today? Are you going to be the one trying to hack a text prompt, or the one actually building the system? Think on that. Start building out your context libraries, and we'll see you in our next explainer.